Hello and welcome to the USA breaking news in Israel. Israel Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich has suggested that Israel should take a control of southern Lebanon, a territory as a part of effort to completely eliminate Hezbollah. Speaking on March 23rd in 2026, Smotrich said the Israel border should be moved to Litani River, about 14 kilometers inside Lebanon, to strengthen security and stop Hezbollah's attack. Israel launched a full military operation against Hezbollah earlier this month after the group carried out attacks, saying it was avenging the death of Iran's supreme leader Al Khamenei in the ongoing war involving Israel, Iran, and the United States. The conflict, which started on February 28, 2026, has already caused a heavy casualties. Human rights activists, news agencies report that more than 3,200 people have been killed, including over 1,400 civilian. Lebanese authorities say Israel strikes in the past 2 weeks have killed 1,818 civilian, injured 2,000, and displaced nearly 1 million people. Israel has warned residents in southern Lebanon to move south of the Ratin River as it plans to expand ground and air military operation against Hezbollah. Meanwhile, Israel's defense minister, Israel Hatzi, warned that Lebanon could lose more territory if it failed to disarm Hezbollah. In Colombia, a military aircraft carrying between 18 and 100 soldiers has crashed in southern Colombia near the Peru border. Military officials told AFP that the aircraft was carrying around 18 soldiers, while a local media reported that more than 100 people were on the board at the time of the crash. The aircraft went down near the city of Peruto in Putamoyo province. According to BBC, a rescue team were quickly sent to the scene and managed to rescue 57 people alive. A Colombia Defense Minister Pedro Sanchez confirmed that the aircraft was involved in a serious accident, but the exact number of casualties is still unknown. President Gustavo Petro expressed hope that no lives were lost and promised that the government will do everything possible to prevent such incidents from happening again. In the USA, President of the United States Donald Trump has announced a temporary suspension of attacks on Iran energy infrastructure, citing ongoing negotiation, but Iran has denied that any talks are taking place. The United States and Iran have been in conflict since February 28, 2026, with attention rising over the strategic Strait of Hormuz, which carries about 20% of the world's oil supply. Trump said that after a weeks of constructive discussion, he ordered the Pentagon to suspend military strikes on Iran's energy facilities for 5 days to allow negotiation to continue. However, Iran quickly rejected the claim, stating that no direct or indirect talks have taken place between the two countries. Iran also warned that if its energy infrastructure is attacked, it will strike energy facilities in allied countries in the Middle East, including Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and United Arab Emirates, and could completely close the Straits of Hormuz. Iran's foreign minister accused Trump of seeking time of reorganized military operation and reduce pressure caused by rising a global oil price. Iran further stated that Middle East countries are calling for de-escalation, but the message should be direct to the United States and Israel, which it accuses of starting the conflict. In Northern Korea, President of North Korea Kim Jong-un has declared that nothing will stop his country from continuing to develop a nuclear weapons and treating South Korea as a permanent enemy, according to the state media KCNA. Kim made the remarks during a speech to members of North Korea's parliament on Tuesday. He said North Korea will continue strengthening its nuclear weapon program to ensure national security, regional stability, and economic development. Kim stressed that nuclear weapons are essential for protecting the country's sovereignty in what he described as an increasingly hostile global environment. He also warned the South Korea, saying it is considered an enemy state and would face a strong retaliation if it attempts any military action against North Korea. In Australia and the European Union have signed a sweeping free trade agreement after 8 years of negotiation, marking a major step in strengthening economic and strategic cooperation amid growing global uncertainty. The deal valued at around 10 billion Australian dollars was signed on Tuesday with Australian Prime Minister Anthony and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen describing it as a mutual win-win partnership that will benefit both economies in the long term. Under the agreement, almost all European Union tariff on Australian agricultural products will be removed. This includes wine, seafood, dairy products, wheat, barley, fruits, vegetables, and the olive oil, allowing Australian exporters easier to access European markets. The Australian government says the deal alone will save local wine producers about 37 million Australian dollars in export costs. At the same time, Australian consumers are expected to benefit from cheaper European goods, including wine, spirits, chocolate, biscuit, pasta, and other food products, making European imports more affordable in the local markets. One of the most sensitive part of the agreement involves food naming rights. The deal allows Australian producers to continue using the name Prosecco for Italian-style sparkling wine within Australia, although the name will be phased out in exports market over the next 10 years. Producers will also be allowed to continue using names like Parmigiana, while products such as feta will follow a gradual transition period. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said the agreement reflects Australia's strong historical and cultural ties with Europe, noting that many food traditions in Australia were introduced by European migrants who helped shape the country's modern identity. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen emphasized that the agreement goes beyond trade and focuses on building collective resilience in a world that is rapidly changing, where tariff and supply chains are increasingly being used political and economic tools. She stressed that trust and long-term partnership between Australia and the European Union were key to future global stability. The deal also includes a new security defense partnership aimed at increasing cooperation in areas such as defense industry development, counterterrorism, maritime security, and space technology. In addition, both sides agreed to strengthen collaboration on critical mineral projects, including lithium and tungsten, which are essential for modern technology, renewable energy, and a global supply chain. However, agreement has faced criticism from some Australian agriculture stakeholders. Amid industry representatives say the deal does not provide sufficient export costs for Australian beef and red meat, arguing that 13,000 ton annual quota falls short of expectation and represents missed opportunities for farmer and exporters. Despite the concern rather from both Australia and the European Union, he says the agreement represents a balanced and strategic partnership that will boost our trade, strengthen security cooperation, and improve economic stability in an increasingly uncertain global environments. Those were the latest regional and international developments. For continued updates, in-depth analysis, and the breaking news, stay with the USA New Times, your trusted source for global affairs.